Hey guys, Phobia again. Long requested. I'm finally back to WoW again. But everybody has been asking me since I came back to make a Necro Shadowpriest guide, since I am now a Necro Shadowpriest. Necro everything has just become the meta. It seems like everyone's Necro of every class and spec. It seems like. So I've been playing around with it on my alt and on my main. And it's good. I mean, it makes things easier for sure. It fits into the meta and the comps that we play. So today I'm doing a Necro Shadowpriest guide. Been playing a little bit. We are at 28-10, 22, 27 and 2s. So yeah, we're pretty high up there. We're gonna try to push our rank 1 here soon. Now that I'm back, I'm just trying to get unrusty a little bit more, and then we'll be pushing. But yep, today is a Necro Shadowpriest guide. I hope you guys enjoy. Alright, so Covenant, obviously Necrolord now, like I was saying. Why Necrolord? It's tankier. The damage is easier to get off, especially in this melee heavy meta, rogue mage meta. So just being kicked really sucks. Having that out and that extra protection is really nice, especially in the going through Plate Device of Marilith. You get frictionless coding. You get your ultimate form, which is your immunity and your heal. So much you can do with that. It's just it's a safer bet. It's easier to get off, and you're tankier. Plus, you get some healing from your Covenant abilities. So some of the things that I'm running in my tree, I'm running Festering Transfusion, which makes my Unholy Fusion my Necro ability to do more damage and healing. Condensed Atmosphere. Keep in mind I don't have the best conduits. Dissonant Echoes. Light's Inspiration for the Desperate Prayer heal, just more tanky. I like running Haunting Apparitions. You can run Rabid Shadows if you really want to. You can run Mind Devour. Haunting Apparitions just makes it seem, I don't know, it just feels like more pressure, honestly. And a Clear Mind for my Finesse conduit way down here. So these are the conduits that I am running. I feel like they work the best. I don't ever really come out of the Plague Device and Marilith tree at all. Just it fits all situations. So this is what I'm currently running. Talent wise, I am running Unfurling Darkness, Intangibility, Misery, Psychic Core, Shadow Crash, Void Torrent into most matchups except for like Shaman melee cleaves. Then I'll run Damnation into like Shaman melee cleaves, because there's no way I'm getting a full Void Torrent out. It just won't happen. Sometimes I'll run this into Rogue Mage, but even then I don't really generally run this into Rogue Mage. But you can. Damnation, it's just the dots don't do a lot of damage, and your dots are just mainly for your mastery to get your higher damage throughput out there, just because for every dot you have, you do more damage. And then you get Unfurling Darkness procs off of it. So again, into Shaman melee cleaves, it makes sense, but I don't really feel Damnation is the play anymore. Void Torrent just brings a lot of damage over time on a quick cooldown, and you get Insanity from it. So for me, it just feels a lot stronger, especially when you have all dots on a target. It just feels great for closing out some games and just causing more pressure, especially on a swap. So that's why I run this. And then you have Hungering Void on top of that. Honor talents I generally run are Improved Master Spell, Greater Fade, and Siphene. I will swap Improved Master Spell out for things like Driven to Madness versus like dot heavy cleaves like Owl Play and stuff like that, where you don't need MD as much. Depending on if I'm playing with the Rusted Druid, that is. If I'm not playing with the Rusted Druid, even versus Owl Play, I'll run MD for Root Beam. But I'm just giving examples of certain comps where, like, let's say Ellie Shadowpriest or whatever, you don't really need improved MD on that. You can just run Driven to get more Void forms up. You can run Void Volley into melee cleaves to get that AoE, not necessarily the damage, but that AoE interrupt is really nice. So you can run this into like Ret War, where MD is only going to be viable on the bubble. So you can run Void Volley instead. If you want to run MD, you can. But this is what I generally run into most comps, and I just changed it out based on what I'm fighting. I almost always run Siphene. Legendary for Necro is the Sandals of Paladin Command. It's really the only one you can run. It's what gives you your Rattling Mage, your big damage. So you have to run this. When the next patch comes out and we get the double legendary, I'm sure a lot of you guys know I'm probably going to run Measure Contemplation and Palette Command. That heal is insane. It's going to stop a lot of goes. People are going to be so overpowered that having this out could be huge. I will swap it out for Twins of the Sun Priestess if I'm playing Shadow play for sure. It's better in that scenario for most cases. And then Vault of the Heavens, I might try out on my second legendary based on how strong melee cleaves are to just get away from them. I love this legendary. But yeah, generally Measure Contemplation and Palette Command for next patch, but we'll see when that comes around. It is not currently out. There's still some things to test. But yeah, so far that's going to be my Covenant and my talents and my Honor talents and the legendary. The next thing I really want to go over are some things you can do real quick with your Necro abilities. So as a Necro Shadowpriest, if you're about to get CC'd, like Rogue Mage is about to stun you into a poly, and you're far enough away from the mage where he can't kick you, you can do such things as you know the rogue's about to CC you, and they're going on your Shaman or your Druid, and you know they want to swap. You can just pre-Necro Fleshcraft, the kidneys, anything but a kick. So if you see a Fear coming, a poly coming, a stun coming, and you're fast enough to react to that, you can use that to get yourself out of CC or stop CC because of how Ultimate Form works. It stops all crowd control and then another 3 seconds after you finish the channel. Super good outplay if you can get that stuff done in time. Of course, you guys know if you're going to get polyed or Ring of Frosted, or even if you know a DB is coming, you can Shadow Word Death it and then break it, and then Fear, Silence, Stun, Mind Control, the mages, whatever hexes, if you can Death a Hex. So don't forget to use things like that. A good rotation to use as a Necro Shadowpriest is, for me, I will get my dots out. Let's just say, here, let me get my Devouring Plague. Okay, so a good rotation I like to have is if I have a Devouring Plague ready, I'm talking to my teammate, I'm like, hey, we're ready to go. All right, I'll throw my dots up. I will say, okay, let's go. Throw out my Shadow Fiend first, then my Palette Command, and then Void Erupt with PI. Because what's going to happen, I didn't use PI, but what's going to happen is you have your everything out, so if you get kicked or whatever, you still have damage going for your partner. But then your Shadow Fiend and your Rattling Mage get benefit from your PI. So you have everything rolling, and then you get your PI out there, and they get benefits from that on top of all your damage already being out. And then when somebody's low, they're about to die, and the healer has no CC left, and they're about to get out of CC, then you want to throw out your Shadow Fiend. You could throw it out during the go if it's like a Shadow Priest, so he can't heal or during his dispersion. But you generally want to wait until he uses something. So wait for the Shadow Priest to about to get out of control, or you know he's about to use dispersion, then throw Psyfiend out. Or if the healer's just about to get out of CC, then you throw Psyfiend out as if it's like a sharpened blade. Unless you can guarantee the kill by throwing it out and your damage, and they don't have a kill, like they have no way to kill it. Then you can just throw it out there. Trinkets, I use Shackles pretty much every game except for RMP. I'll sometimes use Shackle. I'll switch to a BM Trinket, depending on if I know I'm going to target or not, based on the comp I'm running. So keep that in mind. I generally always use my Shackle. It is really, really good. You can bait the spells, get your damage out, throw a Palette Command out, bait a dispel from your healer, and then throw your Shackles, two Shackles, 3 Shackles at a time, and just kill somebody. So that's my breakdown. Next thing I want to talk about real quick is I'm gonna go into comps, like some of the comps that I run, and what you guys should run. Real quick before I get into that, my breakdown is all haste verse gear. If you guys are wondering, it's all haste versatility gear that I can get. I have 1 socket. I don't have my socket yet, by the way. I have to finish my core 3. I've been very, very slow on that. But yeah, so that's what I'm running: haste, versatility, and I'm gonna run haste gems and enchants. Okay, now on to comps. Okay, so comps. RPS. RPS is so good. Now, there's a few comps that you can run that are just like going to be top tier for you. It's not just like 1 comp or 2 comps. There are some good comps based on your play style. So RPS is more just pressure, hit who's right in front of you, or just train like a healer or a Shadow Priest to the ground. Like this is good against other Shadow Priests, especially. There's just so much pressure. You have double purge. You have damage from the shaman with his Earth Lego, just his lava burst. You have The rogues, just a sheer amount of just consistent damage without even having cooldowns, hemotoxin, and then of course as a Necro Shadowpriest, all your damage is ready and instant as soon as the rogue has kidney. Very good at just locking down a single target, or just you could play spread. So if you just want to just kind of mongoloid a comp, this is kind of that mongoloid comp. It's not really a lot of setup. It's just pick a target, run at them, spam purge, kill. Very, very sustainable too at resetting. Generally, you'll be the target a lot while people cleave your rogue, and then they can just swap and kill your rogue. So keep that in mind. So you can't go wrong with RPS, in my opinion. Next, WPS. Probably the best comp you can run right now as a Shadow Priest is Warrior Priest Shaman. With a Kyrian or Necro Warrior, either one works. Kyrian helps with peels and just keeping a target right there, or multiple targets or cleave, while Necro just brings a lot more just straight damage. You get Mastery from it. Mastery boosts your damage, boosts his damage, execute one-shots, tankier if everybody's Necro also. You have Intervene, Disarm for people who try to go you or your Shaman. Warriors have Ignore Pain. They can leap away, defensive stance, parry. You guys are all super tanky in this comp. You have a Mortal Strike up at all times. Warriors hit like a truck. You just can't go wrong. It's so good. It can stop almost everything. Your hardest comp, or at least my hardest comp, I feel like when I'm playing WPS, is actually Rogue Mage. You do really good into Rogue Mage, but if you mess up, you die. If you mess up or overlap a cooldown, they can literally kill your Shaman in a go, and there's nothing you guys can do about it. There's not enough peels or time to keep your Shaman alive. And a lot of Rogue Mages will just go your Shaman. So keep that in mind also. Again, probably the best comp you can run. God comp and Shadowplay. This is the comp I'm having the most fun with at the moment. Necro Frostmage version of this. Necro Frostmage, Kyrian or Necro Druid. Kyrian because I play my buddy Markers and he just shows how much damage that stuff can do. So either one of them works for you guys out there. Kyrian is awesome. You should watch his channel, Mr. Markers on Twitch. But I'll tell you right now, this right here is insane. Insane comp. The damage from a Necro Frostmage just, I feel like, never stops. If they're going me, my Frostmage can just one-shot people. If they're going him, I have the most control in the world. It just feels like an unbeatable comp if you play it correctly. Probably, I'm telling you guys have to try it if you haven't. God comp, Shadowplay. You play a Fire or Frost. My favorite's the Frost variant. You can't go wrong with this. If you guys have friends who are Frost Mages and Druids, you can pick it up and just go. Even with a Holy Pally or a Mistweaver, just pick it up and go. You guys have a good time. Shadowplay. Everyone knows of the Deathbolt one-shots right now. Shadowplay is pretty busted, especially if they go you and you stay alive long enough for giving your Warlock a PI and just throwing out there a one-shot. I've been testing a lot with my buddy Roxy Bolts. He's another Twitch streamer, and he plays Affliction Lock, Destro Lock, and we are just one-shotting people. There are games where I do no damage at all. I get on my ult, we play some games. We went to like 2600, 2700 MMR on my ult, 2600 CR, and there were games that did like 5,000 damage, and he just killed somebody. You're just a face tanker. You sit there, people go you, your Warlock says I'm ready, PI me, you throw him PI, and he just one-shots. You have so much CC in this comp, so much sustainability. You guys have to try this one out too if you guys have Affliction Lock friends. And then there's the Demo Lock Decimating Bolt one-shot build you could play. The Demo Lock variant is a lot more control-based. You have a lot more CC. You have a lot more lockdown. More consistent burst. Not as easy to stop, I would say, as Demo, because you have a lot of cross CC as the Demo Lock. But Affliction Lock, that one-shot, everyone's been seeing it. It's a lot of fun. All these comps so far, I've been telling you guys, can easily push you guys to Glad and above. And you can play this specific one with the R Druid, a Mistweaver, or R Shami. R Druid's probably gonna be your best bet just because R Druids are like the best healer right now. So you guys should try it out. Highly recommend it. It's a lot of fun. You rot everybody. You can play multiple specs, multiple talent specs, I should say. And it's a good time, man. I trust you guys to have fun with this. So these are some of the honorable mentions. The ones I just said are probably your best bet to push Gladiator or above with. But these are some honorable mentions that do work in the meta. I just don't play them enough to give you guys the best detail. But I have seen other Shadow Priests run these comps. So Shadow Cleave with a Unholy DK is actually insane right now. I've been watching some certain people stream it, and it looks really good. I've fought against it. It feels really good. It's just not a comp I run a lot of anymore. But that is Shadow Priest on Holy DK, R Shaman, or R Druid. You can play Owl Play, which is with a Boomkin, which is very, very good. You can play with a Kyrian or a Necro Boomkin, which works best because just Convoke is too easy to stop now. But Shadowpriest, Boomkin, or Shami Holy Pally. I recommend if you are playing with a Night Fae Boomkin that you run with a Holy Pally for the Aura Mastery and just try to get a lot of pressure in the opener and then go from there. You have FPS, which is with a Feral Druid, Shadowpriest, Restless Shaman, preferably with a Necro Feral. And this one is kind of like Assassination RPS. You just kind of pick a target, run it down, dot it up. They start to rot. Swap, and while you're spreading damage, the Feral is just training a target, doing a lot of spread pressure, a lot of just massive full throttle pressure onto one target. And the dots are so strong that people just end up dying. You have a lot of off heals from the Feral. The Feral's tanky. It's a good comp. It's fun. I've played it a lot this season also. I think it's a lot of fun. Scatter play with a hunter. I would probably recommend playing this with a marksman hunter instead of a BM hunter now. Just because Necro marksman seems really good. You can play with the Ventier marksman. It's just they hit really hard. So if they go you have a lot of just this hunter spamming damage into people. Aim shots, rapid fires, double tap. It feels really good if you want to play scatter play. Prefer with the Restitute or Holy Pally just for outs and sustainability and mana, especially because you might just end up going to people here. So these are the other comps I recommend playing if you're not playing one of the other ones I just showed you guys. They are good. I just don't play them enough, so that's why I call them honorable mentions. While the ones I mentioned before, between Shadow Play, Scatter Play, or Shatter Play, Shadow Play, WPS, and RPS, those are going to be your best comps, I feel, and then you can try these ones out, and I think you guys have great success with it. I don't think there's anything wrong with playing these comps. They all give you guys success, at least the Gladiator, if you guys try to push. As long as you guys play right, position right, you guys should do fine, and make sure you guys communicate. A tip I can give you guys all is please get in voice with your teammates. If you guys are going through the LFG system, when people are in voice, they are less likely to leave. Fun fact. Get to know your teammates, build a synergy, camaraderie, go from there. Next, I'm gonna go over a couple things that I wanted to mention earlier in the guide that I just thought of as I was going through. So I want to go back over, and I'm gonna give you guys a couple things that I do differently based on compositions. All right, so some of the things I wanted to mention, but I didn't say it was, so if you're fighting another Necro Shadowpriest, so since this is a Necro Shadowpriest guide, you also want to know how to counter other Necro Shadowpriest. So, for instance, if you see another Necro Shadowpriest throw out their Pallid command, you'll get this dot. You see how this Unholy Transfusion, it says it's a disease, okay? You can then, what you can do is purge it off whoever it's on, because that disease boosts this Rattling Mage's damage. See how his damage is now at 10 stacks? 12 stacks, it keeps going up for every time somebody takes damage with that dot. So you want to purge the dot, and then you want to use Shackle Undead onto the Rattling Mage. That way you take the dot off, and you're CCing their mage. Just makes their legendary and their burst obsolete at that point. That is the best thing you can do against another Necro Shadowpriest. Take the dot off, shackle the mage, and then line of sight if your healer CC'd or fade or whatever you got to do. But that's a big thing you can do to stop pressure. It will cause a lot more goes to be forwarded and keep you alive without having to waste dispersion or trinkets or anything of that nature. So that's something I definitely want to make sure I got out there. Nextly, I didn't mention this. Into Rogue Mage, always run Void Shift and Improved MD, in my opinion. And I would say maybe also into like Windwalker Fire Mage and maybe fighting a God comp. It all depends on what healer you have. If you're playing with the Holy Pally, you should run this into God comp. If you're playing with a Druid, then I would say run this into Windwalker Fire Mage or Rogue Mage. This should be your setup right here. I wanted to mention that. It's very important because you're not going to get value out of siphoning your goes. They're most likely going to run and CC. You're trying to kill in a couple goes on Rogue Mage, not necessarily just rotting them down. I would say I'd run Void Torrent actually into this more often. Now that I think about it, I run Void Torrent more into Rogue Mage because killing a Rogue or a Mage on a stun is very easy to do when you have a Rogue or a Warrior or a Mage on your team. So this is my general setup into Rogue Mage. I just wanted to make sure I went over that because I was thinking about it as I was doing the video. Very important to do. Some macros I recommend doing. is if you're playing with a Warlock, make a macro into your Void Eruption for your teammates. So that way you don't have to cast Void Eruption. You can just hit it and then it'll go into them and make a separate macro for your own burst. And then just target PI into it. You don't have to do it into Void Eruption. You can target it into any other spell you would generally not use until you're ready. But Void Eruption is generally my burst ability. It's a casted ability. So when they need it, I can just throw it to them and just make a separate Void Eruption for it, but keybind for it. Something of that nature. Something easy for you guys. But yeah, make a PI macro, and you can do this into God Comp too. Giving your Necro Frost Mage a PI is actually very important also, because they're based on getting Frostbolt Flurry procs, and the more they get, the more damage they do, the more one-shots they do. So I recommend doing that. A Mouse over Mass Spell macro is really nice, so you don't have to take that extra second to click down your MD. It's really good for traps and polys and just getting that out real quick. So I recommend a at cursor macro for that. And that's generally all. I mean, there's some focus macros, but that's not. I mean, everyone has focus macros. People should know that by now. If you don't, this is what a Kama Harm macro looks like right here. But generally, the PI and the MD is the macros I wanted to go over. And that's about it. That's all I have so far for this guide. It was a very quick guide, very easy to go over. Just why I'm running Necro, what comps I generally run, where I'm at right now, and just my thoughts on it. It's very good. It's very easy to get out, and it's strong. So if you guys have any questions, please let me know down in the comments. Please like and subscribe if you haven't. I am streaming again, so please follow the stream at twitch.tv/aphobiagaming. If you guys want me to have specific content or videos out, let me know in the comments also. Or go to my Patreon page if you want to support, so I can do more content on a faster schedule. But I am planning to do more content now, so just please let me know, and I hope you guys enjoyed.